King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table is a story that's been around since the 14th century. In a time where honor meant everything and making sense meant nothing, we have yet another King Arthur Lancelot story. Join us as we retell this tale for the 87th time and go out of our way to make absolutely no goddamn sense whatsoever. This time, who do we have joining us for this challenge? Is it Lancelot?
Nah.
What about Merlin?
He was busy.
Do we have any name brand knights whatsoever?
No.
Anyway, if you want brave knights, we don't have them. What we do have is a disjointed multicultural cast and a story that doesn't make any goddamn sense. Unless you're on peyote hanging out with whoever magical foxes are in the forest. I did like the fox though. Join us as we break down the pros and cons of the Green Knight. And if you're more confused than you were when we started, then we nailed it. Hey, thanks for joining us at Eric and Javan's Pros and Cons. My name is Javan, along with my host.
I'm Eric.
And we are breaking down esoteric movies so you don't have to. Today we took the honor of the Green Knight.
I don't know how much of an honor it was.
The honor was all theirs indeed. This is a tale of 14th century King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. There's been various offshoots, WB movies, all kinds of stuff on this.
It is an artistic reinterpretation of an old-ass story that nobody cared about when it was written.
I gotta say, when it was written, it was the, what was going on in the 1300s? I think there was a lot of black lung. Plague. Murder.
Invasion, Vikings. I think there was some tumultuous times, if I'm not mistaken.
Plunder. Let's just say that if you had an imagination and you could write these stories probably, but they have no business still being around in my mind. We're going to go join King Arthur yet once again as the most impoverished, sickly King Arthur that we've seen.
I don't know that he was impoverished as much as he was just old. Like, we joined this story, he's old, very old. I don't know. So my pros and cons about this movie. Pros, sure, it was aesthetically pleasing. The movie had its, some of the scenes that were shot, some of the costumes, that part of it was great. Somebody actually took some time to put that shit together and make it look pretty good. The rest of the movie, hot garbage. I would rather watch Spiral again than have to go through 5 more minutes of this movie.
Leave Chris Rock alone. I will agree with you that this movie was well shot. You could have paused this movie at almost any point, and it was very artistically done. It was very beautifully done. So I'll agree with you on the pro that its cinematography was beautiful. Con for me was character development. We wake up, we join Gawain as the lesser known, one of the lesser known
the black
characters.
sheep of the family. Con for me, they didn't do enough character development. Absolutely, I agree. It took me 15 minutes and about 20 minutes of Googling stuff to figure out what the hell we were watching. They really went in some weird directions with this movie. Very, very strange directions.
Yeah, and that direction is not making sense. We really didn't know who anybody was. We tried our best to figure out who the characters were. It's like watching picking a random season of Game of Thrones and having somebody jump you right in the middle of it. You really don't know who he is. You have to put together that his mom, who looks like Edward James almost looks like Edward James almost, and
you have no idea how much work you put into pronouncing that correctly, ladies.
Yes, I just found out it wasn't almost, that it was utmost. I don't know. In any event,
he has a long history of doing that.
You really did have to do like some forensic detective work in order to figure out who the characters were and what they meant.
Con for me. So the whole thing is he kills the knight. The knight returns the blow a year later. We'll get more into that. But he even says, if you scratch me, that's what you get. He decides to cut his head off. Who the hell does that?
So what Eric is referring to is that a part of the movie, and this is also a con for making sense, the whole part of the movie is that the Green Knight comes into a room full of knights and says, I have this challenge for you. And the challenge is anybody that can strike a blow on me will get my axe. But I get to do the same thing to you later. And at this point of the movie, Gwaltry speaks up in a room full of knights who are like, nah, I don't see the upside here. Gwaltry steps up and says, is it Gwaltry or no, that's the cheap bacon.
Yeah,
that's
you're way off here.
Gawain.
Gawain, you get this.
He steps up like, yeah, I'm your Huckleberry. And the king is like, are you sure? Like, did you understand that? Like, there's no upside here. You have to meet this guy on Christmas, and he's going to do whatever you did to him. No, I got it. He proceeds to cut the Green Knight's head off.
At this position, I walk up and tap the guy on the forehead with the back of the blade. And we're done. I get your axe, I get the superpowers, and next week you get to bonk me in the head. Win-win. You don't cut the guy's head off. That's stupid.
Absolutely. Especially when that guy picks up his severed head, throws it on his horse, and rides off like the Headless Horseman laughing into the night. So
you know you done fucked up.
When Christopher Walken shows up.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It just didn't make, I got to say, Khan for me, it just didn't see why anybody was doing any of the things that he did. Basically, he accepted this challenge. So why did he even accept the challenge? I can't even see.
To gain favor with the king. He wasn't really a part of it. He was the black sheep. His mama was, I don't know. None of it made sense to me at all. This movie is 2 hours and 10 minutes long, which is about 2 hours and 8 minutes too much. Do me a quick montage of all the great cinematography, and then boom, we're out of here. Save yourself the time. This movie is trash.
Con for me was also the way that they put it together. There's a certain point where he goes to meet the Green Knight for his scheduled beheading, and he basically flinches before beheading, as any of us would. And
those of us who are cowards would.
Apparently my co-host would just stand there and take a beheading because he vowed it.
You bet cash, you lose cash, you pay cash. I'm just saying.
I'll keep that in mind. I'll be flinching and leaving, which is exactly what Gawain did. Gawain flinched, then left, then lived out his whole entire life, and then we blink and he's back at that moment. And he's like, I'm ready to die now.
Basically, this is 2.5 hours of learning he's a pussy.
If that's what you are when you don't want to be beheaded, sure. For me, this is a really deep cut on a very boring movie. I think if in the 14th century, this was probably great storytelling. We have way too many options. I would rather listen to Darius Rucker play piano. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah,
that wasn't really a deep dive there.
Yes.
I'll just stick with my Spiral. I'd rather watch Spiral. That's how bad I hated this movie.
Fair enough. Spiral is better than this movie.
You know what? One thing I never thought I'd say. Spiral's actually better than this movie.
This movie is... No. Pro for Spiral. I'm going to go back. All right. Yeah. Pro for Spiral is that it's not Green Knight. I really am glad that we have some movies that we enjoy. This was not one of them. If you did say you enjoyed it, it's because you're trying to act like you're more artsy than everybody else. Nobody would do this to themselves on purpose, and I really think it was a prank for this guy to get back.
Who funded this movie? I think it must have got their legs humped pretty damn hard.
Somebody's parents who sent somebody to film school that doesn't have talent. That's right, I said it. You heard it first. I'll never watch The Green Knight again. I don't like the Green Ranger from Voltron anymore. The Green Lion, the Green Lantern.
I don't like green lights.
Yeah, I can't say enough about how much this movie was not for me. If you did like it, get the help you need.
I agree with him.
That's us wrapping up pros and cons. Obviously, you can see how we felt about the Green Knight. I'm the one that suggested that to the powers that be, and I think the powers that be laughed at me and said, "Yeah, go ahead, buddy." So that's our take on it, and thank you so much. We'll see you next time at Eric and Javan's Pros and Cons, taking care of the esoteric movies so you don't have to.